people like you who care about the community, have been trying many, many different things to make things work, to try to mitigate the violence and the normalization of things that would not otherwise be considered normal anywhere else in the city. And when I see shootings that happen here on a regular basis, and there's outrage, but the outrage doesn't translate into change and into action, I'm concerned, because I think that there is a lot of power in this community that maybe is unrecognized, and maybe that power needs to be harnessed better and be able to have an impact on politicians and other people that are able to make the difference. Let's not fool ourselves. This is a resources issue. This is a part of the city that oftentimes does not get enough resources. It gets resources, but sometimes it's too little too late. And we know too little too late only just prolongs the death, only just prolongs the deterioration of a community. It has enough there. I think what happens is enough there to keep people quiet, but not enough to really make a difference that I think a lot of people in this community probably want to see. So we started this list, and I asked folks to give some suggestions online. And as you can see, there's no shortage of suggestions, all right? There's a lot of ideas. And these are just some of the highlights that I put in here. In fact, there are more. These are some of the highlights that I put in here. But the key, I think, as some people have mentioned earlier, is that we need to focus on a couple of things and then go to the sweet spot of the political machinery that is able to make the difference here from a resources perspective, and I mean money. So I think in order for us to have that impact, we have to have a coalition of folks. Every one of you in this room is doing their own work in their own community, and very powerful work. What I'm trying to figure out and trying to get this group to come together to figure out is how can we bring it all together? Because there's a lot of dots here and there. But somehow if you connect those dots and people can go out and force, it can make a much bigger impact. So that's really kind of the goal of this group, is to try to figure out how can we make a major impact as we move forward toward, I think what everybody wants is to have a community that's vibrant, that is safe, that people feel proud of. All of those things I think that all of us here obviously want to see happen. So the format, what I suggested is that maybe to go around the room and have everybody introduce themselves, and maybe give each person 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, maybe 3 minutes. I know 3 minutes can be much longer, but maybe if we have somebody who's a timekeeper, who's able to say stop without being rude, that would be great. Would you like to? Thank you so much. I appreciate that. So if you want to maybe, do you want to stay there, or do you want to come a little closer? Okay, you're good. So everybody keep your eye right there when you come up to present, so we can have a timely way to be able to move forward. So some of the ideas that have come up, just to put it out there to start, is how do we impact the city council, how do we impact the mayor's office in order to bring more resources to this community? And how do we highlight those issues in a way that gives an urgency to it? It's not just a matter of let's think about the budget of next year, let's think about the budget, because every year is a missed opportunity from my perspective. When it comes to schools, for instance, every year we may improve by 1 or 2%, but what happens to the other percentages that don't make it? These kids are they're not stopping still. They're still in the school system. So they're going to be out without the resources and without the tools for them to be able to succeed. So one of the things that I had suggested, I'm talking with Denise Rolark about the Martin Luther King Day, because I think that's an important day, and I think a lot of people come together to the Peace Walk and the march and the parade and all of that. But I feel it's a missed opportunity. Although it brings people together, it's the coldest day of the year. People are frozen. I remember the last time that we had the march, the announcement in the morning was, please don't let your pets outside today. And then there's these little children in leotards running around trying to do the highest kicks they can so they can stay warm, and they're out in the street. It made very little sense to me, really. Most of the adults were inside cars, driving and waving from behind the windows while they're in heat, and the kids are on the street frozen. It made really little sense to me. So I thought, you know what? This is not a good way to bring community together, although it's a great idea. I see that, but somehow the energy of that needs to be harnessed in a more effective way. That's all. So some of the ideas that have come up is how do we create a similar kind of walk, similar kind of march, demonstration, whatever it is, that culminates into descending on the Wilson Building. How do you bring people from this community, Ward 8 and Ward 7, how do you bring people together so that they show up in the thousands at the city building to demand certain things that I think most people in this room want to see? And I think once you show a force, just by physically being there, the city council will become a lot more responsive. We have to come up with an agenda. We have to come up with specifics. It's not enough just to descend on them. It's important for us to have an agenda. And part of the idea of this coalition is to come together and create that agenda that culminates at a day where we show up at the city council and make these demands known to everybody. And then everyone is working together to make sure that these demands are upheld. So that's my say. I'd like to go around the room and whoever would like to start, and then pass it on to the next person. Introduce yourself, what group you're with, and if you need a microphone, we got one here. But what group we have a walk around microphone. Some people may not have the voice that someone like me has, but so there's a microphone if you want to use it. Is it on? Yeah. So it'd be good to use the microphone for everybody.
Okay, I'll go first to show how it's done. I'll put the timer on. Okay, my name is Dr. Laverne Adams, and I'm a master life coach with Moksha Living downtown. And I am a resident. And I just really want to talk about number one, which is my suggestion. The idea that I had is relationship town halls for couples and those feeling frustrated with the interactions to learn new skills and just don't know where to go to get them. So most times when people are violent, it's because they are frustrated and they don't have the skill set. If you look at almost every one of the suggestions on this list, it all boils down to relationship. So if we're all fighting over what we want, then we just lost. But if we can learn conflict resolution skills, learn how to come together and appreciate the differences that we have, and understand what's at stake is more important than getting our way, then ultimately we all win. So it starts in the home, and most of our constituents are not getting the skills and the training that they need in order to learn.
Thank you. If you want to pass it on to the next person. So that's and you'll see that some of the ideas, obviously, that you're talking about are right here on this list. So these are.
So this is good.
Yep.
So that was 1 minute and 30 seconds.
Wow. Very good. Thank you. You want to pass it on to the next person, please? And then please keep the time for us. Thank you.
Hi everyone, I'm Irfana Jetanani. I'm the Deputy Director of the 11th Street Bridge Park, which is a project of building bridges across the river, and many of my colleagues from me are also here with me. I'm mostly here to listen to the ideas of the residents so that my colleagues and I can be responsive. Of course, we have space at the ARC, and in the first 2 letters are town hall. And so we want to be able to utilize and provide a space for the community. On this list, you'll see that we wrote down some of the actions we've already taken to address the violence, particularly in the villages of Parkland. So I'll actually let my colleagues talk about some of those things that we've already done, but we're mostly here to listen so that we can support the community in taking the steps that they'd like to take.
Hello everyone, Lisa Jones, Community Engagement Director and Human Resource Director at Golden Bridge Across the River. And it's funny because as I'm sitting here, I just received a text from our president that there was a shooting on Savannah and there's police presence all around the yard, and so he's asking me to inform the community and of course our partners. So as we sit here, there's things always constantly going on, and so we're trying to come up with those ways that we can engage the community so these things can stop. But it's a lesson because everyone, we're here to protect and here to serve, and as Arcana talked about, several things we're putting into place to make that happen. We're trying to build those relationships between the community and PD, and so we're trying to do a lot of different things so that we can make one, Village of Parkland, Ward 8, everyone feel safe, and then at the same time bring people together so they know that the art is a safe place, and so we're kind of doing that. At the same time, we're sitting here strategically planning out processes to make that happen, but it doesn't stop as we plan, so we have to kind of keep it going as we're making that happen.
Thank you.
Good morning, my name is Corey Poole. I'm with the DC Superior Court Community Service Program Office. So I'm here, yes.
Did everybody hear, or would you prefer having a microphone?
Microphone.
If you don't mind coming to the mic, please. And we're getting a battery one in a minute.
Good morning, my name is Corey Poole. I'm with the DC Superior Court Community Service Program Office. For our office, pretty much we manage a lot of diversion programs. So for individuals that have low-level misdemeanors, traffic cases, those types of things, we partner with nonprofit organizations throughout the city to make sure that they get some meaningful work, as well as you all get some help and some needed services that you all can have. So I'm here to listen, help, whatever way that I can be of service. You can definitely reach out to me. Thank you.
Thank you. If you don't mind coming up, please, to the front. Thank you. Just pass on the microphone.
How's everyone doing?
Good morning.
My name is Mr. Samuel. I'm Assistant Treasurer for Bellevue Neighborhood Civic Association. We were discussing, like we were all talking about community, myself and my president, who's here, sitting here, I'll let her elaborate on it, but we were discussing that in our Bellevue community, we need art, history, music. And we're talking about now, since I'm hearing everyone say that they can help, we do need some help from some members who can help us get access to when we start up our art, history, and music, and part of in the Bellevue community. So that's about all I can put out there. I can let my president elaborate.
All right. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Good morning, everyone. I'm Kimmy Morton. I'm the president of the Bellevue Neighborhood Civic Association. I'm also president of the Bellevue Neighborhood Community Land Trust, which we just created for our community. And I'm the executive director of Unfoldment Incorporated, which has worked for many, many years in this community with persons who are under court supervision and who are coming home. And in our community, I think one of the biggest challenges we have in our community is that there are a lot of young men primarily, and now lately young women too, who are just idle, just sitting on the wall, sitting in front of the 7-Eleven. And I'm sure, how many of you heard about the people who were killed in June? 2 people were shot point blank range in the head in front of the 7-Eleven in Bellevue. 3 other people were very seriously wounded. And so what we need, actually, I think in Bellevue is more outreach. You know, we all go to too many meetings, don't we? How many of us want to go to another meeting? Okay. But I think what we really need to do is start meeting our people where they are. So we need to have our lawn chairs, and we need to go together and sit with these young brothers and talk to them and find out, you know, how can we help you get a job? How can we help you get your business started? Something, you know what I'm saying? Something that's really gonna help you get off this corner. We need to get up in the morning and go to the bus stops and listen to the people who are at the bus stops and those who are lined up as I was driving in front of the DHS centers, waiting to get in to sign up for their food stamps. So in addition to the march, which is a great idea, but it's like a one-time thing, I think we need to have a systemic plan among those of us who are here to engage our community and help them. Okay? Is that my 3 minutes? Thank you.
Perfect, thank you. All right, I think we can go to a, I'll take that back. Thank you. We can go to a,
Wireless.
Hi, good morning, everyone. My name is Kimberly Douglas. I'm the Director of Theater Operations and Programming for the Arc Theater, which is a project of building bridges across the river. You met 2 of my other colleagues earlier. And I'm here today really just to, one, as Irfana said earlier, to hear what's needed, but also just to speak to our workforce development program that we have at the Arc, through the Arc Theater, that has been very successful over the years. The ICAM program, which helps youth train for industry, production industry jobs. And so if you guys aren't aware, you know, east of the river, the production sites have grown tremendously with the entertainment and sports arena coming on board, this beautiful space, as well as Anacostia Playhouse. And I think being able to prepare our youth for accessing those type of jobs is very important, especially because that's a huge interest source for them to be a part of the arts industry and to channel their creative juices, but also to provide sites where we can come together and also hear what community needs are. So we hope you all will take advantage of the resources available, and we want to continue to be that support system. Thank you.
thank you.
Good morning. My name is Philip Bonnell. I'm the Executive Director of the Anacostia Coordinating Council. I have 3 recommendations that are not on the brainstorming list. One is most Ward 8 residents live in apartments, and most of the apartment buildings do not have tenant associations. There should be a massive effort to organize the tenants in this ward, because if we have viable tenant associations, a number of these recommendations on this list could be more easily dealt with. Secondly, most of the neighborhoods in Ward 8 do not have civic associations. We need to have a massive effort to do that. I think the Bellevue Neighborhood Civic Association is a classic example of what a well-run, well-organized civic association can do in just a short length of time, as Bellevue has done. And thirdly, is that we have so many people who have formed organizations here in this ward that are well-intentioned and do good work, but they're not 501c3 tax-exempt organizations. So therefore, they lack the capacity in order to get funding from government and private private foundations and corporations. So to that end, Andy, I'm pleased to announce that on Wednesday, October the 23rd, at Martha's Table, from 6 to 8:30 p.m., the Anacostia Coordinating Council and the Center for Nonprofit Advancement will sponsor a workshop entitled Fundraising in a Changing Environment, Fundraising from Corporations, Foundations, and Individuals. And so we're going to help these organizations in Ward 8 to get their 501c3s, and for those Ward 8 organizations that are currently tax exempt, there will be a discussion how they can build capacity in order to get more funding and strengthen their organizations. Thank you.
Fantastic. How are we doing, Dr. Adams? How are we doing, Dr. Adams? Are we okay? With time? Good. Here
I'm
you go.
Stuart Anderson. I'm the Executive Director of Family and Friends of Incarcerated People. I'm also the Community Engagement Specialist for Community Engagement Specialist for the Anacostia Coordinating Council, and I am the Chief Architect behind the annual Dr. Martin Luther King Peace Walk and Parade. We can get people downtown without messing with the parade. I'll just say that. Amen. In relationship to how we address the violence, right, I think Kimmy hit it on the head. I began to meet with some guys, man, 5 years ago in what used to be the Black United Fund Office. People started calling me, telling me, Stu, you ain't invited me to that. I said, a meeting open to everybody. So the room got too small for the group, and we started meeting in Union Temple. And we went to meeting after meeting, and I went to meeting one day and I said, gentlemen, let me say this for the record. I love kicking it with y'all. I love all the fact that we got 80 men in this room. but call me the next time you're gonna meet on the concrete with a problem at. We cannot do anything to change the mindset and behavior of individuals if we preach into the choir. We gotta start meetings in the community. I read through the list, and we're duplicating efforts and not supporting the things that are already in place. There are a group of pastors in Hillsdale, and the idea came out of the faith leadership breakfasts that take place in this ward and now in Ward 7. So they're doing the asset mapping already. We need to get in that room and work through that asset mapping. Okay, my apologies. I done stepped out of her view. I love Wendy. But we need to get with those churches. So the churches have agreed that what they're going to do is the groups of churches that are in close proximity to each other open their doors, pick a day. You got Sunday, you get Monday, you get Tuesday. I open my church on Wednesday, so forth and so on, and make that space available for anybody doing violence intervention work to come in and do some type of program. And we all know what's happening at your church on that day, what's happening at your, and we can direct people to those places. That those places become your church don't just hold, it's a 24, you open up all day. So that's our point. If something happens, this is where we send people to for the services that we decide people need. And the next day they're gonna be at the next church. Same programming. Once we get into that pattern of things, those cats who, because everybody's not cut out for being on the concrete. But we need as many men on the concrete, and that's no disrespect to women. Women have been carrying the burden for a long time, but what's happening is we don't see enough positive men doing the work, and I'll hand this to Brenda, because that's my time.
Thank you very much, Stu.
Good morning, everyone. Please forgive me for being late. I never knew it would be traffic coming from Mississippi Avenue here. I mean, horrible. I underestimated how long it would take me to get here. Thank you for having this forum, Andy. And I'm not sure what all, I haven't gone through the whole list, but I just want to respond to you, Stuart, about the assets map. Is the collaborative in here?
Yep. They're involved.
Okay. Because they did one, and you might want to get with them. They did one maybe about 5 to 10 years ago, just to see what they have. And Phil, you said a lot of this stuff is being duplicated, but I don't think we can have enough. I ran the Parklands Community Center for 35 years, and people would say, "Oh, somebody's going to open up a center." I said, "Honey, look, they need to open up a community center in every 6-block radius in Ward 8. There's a lot of issues here, and we could not touch everybody. So I just think that it's a huge problem. A problem that's been festered for too long because they've closed down so many programs. That's right. There's so many people who have just they were already half buried or buried, and we got to dig them up and help them now. So it is going to take a lot of work. I'm working now, I'm retired, forced retired, in 2015, and I've been working with a few organizations. One of them is the Villages of Parkland Stand Up Committee. Thank you, Ms. Douglas, for allowing us to meet at the ARC whenever, and forgive me for setting up meetings without checking with you. Sometimes it's so much. But what we're trying to do is trying to engage the residents. So what you said, Stuart, or Phil, about getting residents involved and helping them to understand. Yeah, they're mad. They've had a lot of tragedies, people getting killed even in their families, and they're sick and tired. They're in Section 8. They can't move. They want to move. It's just they're a prisoner in a neighborhood it's just a really sad situation, as you all imagine. So, and my attendance is up and down. One of the things we came up with is have a March in Love. And in the Villages of Parklands, it's made up of about 4 or 5 different complexes. They broke Parklands up, those who remember Parklands. So we wanted to have a parade to go in and out all of those villages or parklands, with Hunter Pines, Orchard Park, Parkland Manor, blah, blah. So to do that and engage them and have families to, it's a time? I didn't tell you that.
3 minutes.
I'm sorry. Anyway, we want to have a March 11th. I hope you all support the effort. Look, my dream is, Andy, is to get a helicopter or a plane, a small plane, to go across all the parklands and drop there's thousands of little small red hearts all over the community. Management said, who's going to clean them up? We're not going to clean them up. Let them out. When they come out, they're going to see love all around them.
Pass it on. Yeah.
So they can walk on it. So they can walk on that.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Reverend Wanda Thompson. I'm a pastor of Ambassador Baptist Church on Minnesota Avenue. Belong to quite a few organizations, so I won't bore you with that. I have 3 suggestions. One of mine is number 21 on the list, which is to really is to be sure that families and churches and congregants all get lists for when things are going on in our community, so that people have numbers and contacts that they can reach people when there is a need. Certainly we want to prevent the need, but we want people to be able to connect with churches. But we also want churches to have information so that they can connect with people who've been affected in the community and all as well. Secondly, I agree with Kimmy Morton about idleness. We were talking about that before. We got to get people off the streets. And what gets them off the streets is being occupied in something. But in order to do that, they either need a job or they need education. We need to become our own employers. We need to be able to open up our churches and buildings to get people off the street. We can have talent shows. We can have all kinds of things. We ought to apply for grants so that we can get funded to become employers. And if you can hire even one person from the community, that would be great. And finally, I'm going to suggest that we get all of our youth musicians to compose songs that are relevant, that can go out on streaming, everywhere else, so that people are aware of the issues and that young people begin singing them almost as anthems about things we need to do to change the culture in the community. So if we give them what they need and let them go to work creatively, and artists as well too, then maybe we can infuse some of that in our community.
Thank you. Thank you, Reverend.
Good morning, I'm Clarence Cross. I'm a minister there at Zion Church, and also I'm active with the Wednesday Clergy Fellowship and other organizations. A couple of things. John F. Kennedy, in his inaugural speech in 1961, talked about the fact that we can dream. He said we can eliminate poverty. We have in our mortal hands the ability to eliminate poverty worldwide. Of course, he died young, but he dreamed. I think it's good to do the march, of course not interrupting King Day, the King Parade, but do the march. But when we go down there, I think there's some concrete things we need to have in our hands, things that we need to do. I'm going to mention a couple of things. Education is so important, as Dr. Thompson mentions. It helps to give people hope. I'd like to see us propose to the city to let community colleges be free. I know young people now in Ward 8 and Ward 7 who want to go to college and can't afford it. Why not let community college in this city be free? In other words, I want to have something concrete and pay them while they go. There are a lot of rich folk in this city, and people are getting richer, and there are a lot of poor folk, and the poor are getting poorer. So pay folk to do that. Also, why can't we have a city internship program? I know the fire department has programs, internships, the water department, police department. Also heard recently there were some candidates who had gone through the fire department program, but they tested for marijuana at the end and they could not get their uniforms. The children were very sad. Why were we not teaching them as they went through the program that they would be tested? And why destroy those young folks' lives at that very moment? So the city itself can do that. And I know that the city will always talk about this budget, but where are your priorities? Where can your money go? Put the money in the community. I believe if we can give our young people more education, more things to do like that, it will give them more hope. And we're benefiting ourselves, not just them. The money that we spend, and obviously incarceration and extra police and all like that, helps to take from what could be I think, used successfully to help some of our young people. So that's part of my thinking, and I know my time's about up. We're preparing for a day of Reverend Pastor Golson. I hope you'll talk about the day of remembrance, the peace and remembrance that we're going to do. I know my time's about up. If you don't mind.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Patricia Brown. I'm the CEO of the National Children's Center. We're at 3400 Martin Luther King Jr. Avenue Southeast. We are child-centered and family-focused. We have been in the community for 30 years. And our focus is really working with our babies to help them to have a better life. We have 35% of our population is children with special needs. We operate in an inclusive environment. We have clinicians on site to work with our babies in speech therapy, physical therapy, occupational therapy. But then we talk about family resources, and we realize that food access is a problem in Ward 8. And 3 years ago, we built a urban farm and fruit orchard in conjunction with UDC's agriculture department. We have 65 raised garden beds of every vegetable that you can think of, 14 assorted fruit trees, berries, blackberries, blueberries, watermelons. It's amazing. We are trying to teach people in the community how to plant.
Where's it located?
3400 Martin Luther King Jr. Avenue Southeast.
That's where
the farm is, absolutely. And we had honeybees this year, and we hope to have bees again next year. So there's opportunity to learn urban agriculture through UDC's agriculture program. We have 2 of our staff are now bee certified, so we're teaching people how to make honey. So there's all kinds of opportunity for the community. It was created to be a community garden. We participate in Produce Plus, which is the program where you give free produce away each week. We have farm stands. So there's lots of opportunities. We realize that it's not enough just to develop our babies. If we don't work with the families as well, we've not accomplished anything. So we are trying to add more and more family resources. Earlier this year, HSC Pediatric became a partner with us. And so their community resource outlet has moved into our building, so we will have more family services to offer than we have in the past. So we are just child-centered and family-focused, and we've been in the community. We're not going anywhere. 98% of our families are subsidy, so we want to have an impact on the next generation. So we're happy to be here, and we're happy to open the center for meetings as well.
Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Terrence King, CEO with National Children's Center. I don't think that's much I can add to what Patricia just stated. I'm sorry. Yes, that she added. But one of the things she did mention, we're having a back to school bash September the 28th in partnership with HSC. It's going to be on our facility that's directly up the street. And I would just reiterate the fact that we do have space. We do have opportunities to open up our facility for meetings and things of that nature. We also have a shelf that's there that, as she mentioned, the food that we grow in the garden, we take it from the garden to the kitchen, and to help children show exactly how that's preserved and prepared. And so we're definitely appreciative of being here, and anything we continue to do to support the community, we look forward to doing so. And correct, we have cooking classes. As we stated, we have a full commercial kitchen at the facility. We have a chef on duty, and so once a month, our chef, Chef Nelson, he holds cooking classes for the community and for any individual who would love to participate. So I would just encourage you to go onto our website, see the schedule, see the information, and we definitely look forward to supporting the ongoing efforts here. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning, all. I'm Minister Cornell Young from Delaware Avenue Baptist Church. I'm here today representing my pastor, Reverend Roy J. Holbrook. And we're at 1301 V Street Southeast, just around the corner from Willie Wilson's church and across the street from St. Teresa's. And we are wanting to be able to make an impact in our community. We are wanting to establish a community development center. We are wanting to establish a workforce development center, and we are wanting to get started. And so we do have space available for the meetings, and however, if you guys will reach out to us, we could get together and probably work together with you guys, okay?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, good morning, everybody. My name is Pastor Delonte Golston. I pastor Peace Fellowship Church, which is actually in Ward 7. So I live and pastor in Ward 7. I had worked in Ward 8 at Thurgood Marshall Academy when they first got started. Myself and a few pastors in Ward 7, morning, brother, good to see you. Bless you. Have been organizing peace walks in the community. We met to organize some pastors in Ward 8 at 3500 MLK Avenue at the Black Worker Center about 6 months ago, and just are looking to reach out to more pastors and more lay leaders. We've been going out, so research has shown in San Francisco and Oakland and in Richmond, California, that when pastors, community leaders, and lay leaders get out on the streets and connect with our brothers, as Brother Stewart was saying, on the pavement, it makes an impact. And we do not limit our walks to clergy. We do not limit our walks to men, women, loved ones of all faiths and all backgrounds are welcome. But when we go every other Friday, we always connect our loved ones to resources. So we go out with the Office of Neighborhood Safety and Engagement. We go out with outreach workers from the Department of Employment Services. We go out with DBH. We go out with essential services, and we either hand out a card with resources on that, or that card is perforated, and we get contact information and make sure that that referral is made for job training, for any number of things that we know our loved ones need. So I would really encourage folks to either check out the next walk on our Instagram page. It's called Peace Walks DC. So it's at Peace Walks DC on Instagram, at Peace Walks DC on Facebook. You can also find it on our church website, which I said is peacefellowshipchurch.org, at Peace Walks DC on Instagram, at Peace Walks DC on Facebook, and peacefellowshipchurch.org. Pastor Cross wanted me to mention that we are collaborating with the Wednesday Clergy Fellowship to have a time of peace and remembrance, just to remember all of our loved ones. We've all been to way too many funerals, had to officiate too many funerals. We want to be able to create sacred space and be able to call the names of all whom we've lost this past year. Lord have mercy. And we also want to create training to build capacity for lay leaders, community leaders who are interested in this work. So we're bringing down Sister Erica Ford from New York, who started Life Camp. A lot of folks know her. She helped train the Cure, the Streets, brothers and sisters, returning citizens. We're bringing down Pastor Mike McBride, who initiated a lot of the work in Richmond and in Oakland. So obviously we're going to be in support of number 10 here, the Peace Walks. We're going to be in support of number 21. That's my time. And we're going to be in support of 28. Because when we go out in the community, that's what we hear. We hear the community constantly saying, we need more recreation. Hey, brother. We constantly hear the community saying, we need more recreation, specifically from age 12 up to 25. So much of the resources right now are only 18 to 25. But we're specifically hearing our young people saying, nah, we need more resources for age 12 and up. So I just wanted to say, I echo all those points in that position.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Again, Brenda came from Mississippi Avenue too, so I had to take detours. Denise Rolark Barnes, publisher of the Washington Informer, chair of Washington Informer Charities, and one of the co-coordinators of the MLK Parade and Peace Walk. And, Andy, I want to thank you and everybody else who decided to, bring us all together, I'll say once again. But you're right, we can never do this enough. And I want to figure out what that is in your hand, because is that a camera?
Yeah.
We have to talk, okay. So, because, we're a couple things, and I'll say this quickly because I don't know how much time I have. But one, our office is located on Martin Luther King Avenue, 3117 Martin Luther King. We have been there since 1980. And the most dreaded time of the year for me is September or August when school starts until the last day of school. Because that is the bus stop in the neighborhood where most of the kids from the schools surrounding the area come and either enjoy each other's company, clash, and fight each other, do drugs, whatever they do in that community before and after school. It's gotten much better though, I can say that. And I can say that, one, thanks to the help of Curing the Violence.
Yes.
Yeah, who are downstairs underneath our office for last year and now are next door. The first day of school, 2 girls got into a really bad fight. And that was a Monday. Cure the Violence isn't there on Mondays. And I was about to run next door and say, come on, let's go and stop this fight. They weren't there, so I made my way over because we are one of those safe places where kids, if they need a place to go when there's something happening, they can come into our office. This is something that the mayor just established. Talk to the young lady, of course, you know, there's a sense of pride, blood coming out of her face, police finally pull up. She's not gonna come inside. She's just upset. Got it. So, I mean, that's one of the areas that I've talked to MPD about. Now we have Cure the Violence there. We talked to churches about it. Man on the Street has come different groups come at different times. But I am trying to figure out what to do with my storefront. Let me get to the bottom line here. To me, what my role is and what I can contribute is messaging. I've heard a lot today about, and I have this list. Some of the programs I know a lot about, some I don't. And I would like to really work with those who are on the social media side of this, who are and Brenda, I love that, shower them with love, the hearts. Makes a great story. A1, you got it. But a lot of people do read our newspaper, surprisingly. Oh, that was quick. So I would love to just be able to, on a media communication side, work with folks, get the stories out about your programs. I have a lot of other things going through my head right now, but that was the most important key part of that.
Thank you.
Where are we going
Thank you,
from
Denise.
here?
Anywhere, just yeah, we can go there.
Good morning, everyone. I came a little late. I'm not quite